When the lights came back on, the man in the porcelain mask was gone, but upstairs, the mannequins were breathing. It was the last weekend of October, the kind of night when the air feels colder than it should, and every sound seems to echo just a little too long. My friends Aiden and Chris and I had decided to make the most of Halloween weekend. There was a party happening in a nearby neighborhood, and everyone in school was going. We were seniors, so we wanted this night to be unforgettable. We spent the day decorating Aiden's car with fake cobwebs and skull stickers before heading out. The roads were busy, filled with kids in costumes and parents carrying flashlights. Pumpkins glowed from porches, and the entire town smelled like smoke and sugar. The party was about 10 blocks away, in an old colonial-style house rumored to have been built over a century ago. When we arrived, music was blasting, lights were flashing, and people in masks were dancing everywhere. It was the perfect mix of excitement and eeriness. But something strange happened after midnight. The power flickered twice, then went out completely. The house fell into silence, except for the faint hum of the wind outside. People pulled out their phones for light, laughing it off as a power cut. But in that faint blue glow, I saw something that made my stomach twist. At the top of the staircase stood a man wearing a cracked porcelain mask, the kind that hides every trace of emotion. He wasn't moving, just watching us. "Nice costume," someone shouted and a few people laughed. But the man didn't react. He simply tilted his head, as if studying us. Then, slowly, he turned and disappeared into the hallway upstairs. Everyone thought it was part of the Halloween setup, but something about it didn't sit right with me. Aiden noticed it too. "That guy wasn't at school, was he?" he asked. I shook my head. About 10 minutes later, the power came back, and the music started again. The mood returned to normal, but I couldn't stop thinking about that mask. Later, when people began leaving, Chris suggested exploring the upstairs area where the masked man had gone. "Just for fun," he said. We hesitated, then followed. The hallway was narrow and lined with old family photos, their faces faded and gray. One door at the end was slightly open. We pushed it wider and stepped inside. The room was empty, except for a mannequin wearing the same cracked porcelain mask. Its hands were gloved, and a faint whisper seemed to drift from somewhere in the room, like breath through broken glass. Aiden laughed nervously. "It's a prop, dude. Chill." But then Chris pointed to the corner. There was a second mannequin, wearing the same clothes as one of our classmates who'd been at the party. That's when we realized the mannequins were too real. The skin, the hair, it wasn't plastic. The whispering grew louder, circling us. We ran, stumbling over floorboards. As we bolted down the stairs, I dared one last glance back. The masked figure was standing in the doorway, tilting his head again, holding one of the mannequins by the arm. We didn't stop running until we reached the street. When we turned around, the house looked normal again, lights off, music gone, not a sound inside. The next morning, people said the party never happened, that no one had rented the old house for years. But I still have a photo from that night, taken before everything went dark. In the reflection of the mirror behind us, you can see him standing there in the mask, watching.